back. So now that we have our completely empty directory right here, let's try and start using it. So the first thing we need to do is kind of figure out where we want to use it. And I want to use it inside the profile component right on this image right here. Now how do we do that? Well, step one is of course to explain to the module that this profile component belongs to, which is the user module. I'm going to explain to him that I'm going to start using the shared module in here if it's not there already because you're using something else inside the profile component. So now we have the shared module in here. That pretty much means that now on the image right here, let me just try and make it into a few lines for you because this is getting hard to read. Don't worry, this huge URL will go away soon because that's a crazy one to try and read. There we go. Now what we want to do next is kind of to explain to the system now that we're going to use this directive. That's all we have to do. So now every time this guy, I mouse over, I hover this, I drag on this, I'll actually be able to trigger something in this directive right here. That's pretty powerful. Let me try and show you what I mean here. So jumping into W3 schools, just to find it somewhere, there's a list of all the events that we can do in HTML right here. Now we can actually start listening for a lot of these events, but I'm interested in, if I scroll down, the one I'm interested in right now is not the mouse enter and stuff like that. You could use this one, right? Mouse over, then you could do something. I want to use mouse drag. So when I'm dragging over, I want to get an event. So we're going to use this event right here called drag over right here. That's the event we want to get an event for and we want to listen for right now. How do we do that? We're going to jump into our directive right here. So we added the directive now to the HTML. Now we want to go into the upload directive and we want to do something. We're going to use something called the host listener right here. Now the host listener is from Angular core, so you need to import that of course. The host listener needs to know what are you looking for? What's the event you want to listen for? And I want to listen for the drag over event. He also needs to know, okay, so when you've dragged over, what do you want me to return? And the only thing I want from this guy right now is actually the event, right? I just want to get the event back when you decide to kind of drag over something. I want to get the actual event that was triggered, right? With this event, I can now say on drag over. I can say on drag over, for instance. You can put any name in here. I'm going to get that event right here, and I want to use it for something, right? Pretty simple stuff. Again, it's even though it's your first directive, a lot of this already makes sense, I guess, because we've already tried to use this, just called it output instead and input, and then we could do something with output and input, right? We'll also make an emitter later so you guys can re-see an event emitter, for instance. Good, so now we have this host listener, we're looking for the drag over. Now what do we want to do? For now, let's just console log the event just to kind of see if everything is actually working. So I'll just write event right here with a small colon in the end, and then I'll just add a $ event right here. By the name, you can call this anything. Let's actually just call it event without the stupid $ right there. There we go. So now we've kind of said whenever you drag over this component where you added the directive, right? Only the component where I added the directive. What should happen is actually I should get an event right here. This should be triggered that I'm dragging something over this event, and then it should actually send a console log. Okay, let's try and do it. So looking at the code, if we're still running, everything's running. Now I don't have anything to drag, so let me just try and download a picture real fast. So you see the GIF is down here now. I can kind of drag, and let's see what happens when we get to the image. Look, there's a drag event. We got something running, isn't that awesome? Now we cannot drop anything like that yet because we didn't set that up, but notice how simple it was for us to kind of listen for an event using a directive for that image right there. Now I could use it for anything. I could add it here as well if I wanted to. Just adding that directive will now get an event whenever I drag over a specific tag in my HTML. I think we're going to end it there because that was kind of how we could get the drag event, and later on we'll use it for something. We'll just add a couple more events and then we'll keep working with this in the next couple of lessons. See you next time. Have fun.